since I managed to score a whole bunch of nice Adcom stuff from someone at work who was getting rid of some stuff since they're moving. I got this very big GFA-5400 power amp and a GTP 350 preamp. I also got this GFS-6 speaker selector, which is what we're going to take a look at. But it's a pretty good setup for no money at all, which ain't bad. I know the power amp does have a blown fuse, so I'm not sure if there's bigger problems with that, but I did find a service manual for it, so I should be able to fix pretty much anything wrong with that thing. And this thing, I know the tuner's acting a little weird. It lets you set presets, but tuning actually doesn't work, and the FM AM selector doesn't work. So I'm not sure if it's dead. As far as I know, the tuners in these things break all the time, but I'm not too concerned. I don't even know, are there radio stations anymore? I don't know. I won't use it anyway. It's just as long as it's a nice preamp. I opened it up. They're both very clean inside, so they should be pretty good, assuming nothing major is wrong with this one. So I'm going to get rid of the big guys and we'll take a look at the speaker selector. So here's the speaker selector. You can get an idea of how big these apartments are at my work when you need a selector for 6 sets of speakers. But basically all this thing does is it takes one output from an amp and then lets you enable multiple speakers, or none, I guess. But you can turn on each speaker set individually. These buttons are a little weird. They don't stick every time. But there's also a protection switch, and I notice there's huge resistors in there, so I don't know what they're doing exactly with that, but we'll take it apart and see if we can at least figure out what the hell they're doing with those resistors. It looks like it's just current limiting from the main input from the amp, or sorry, the output into this thing is probably just current limited with some resistors or something, because if you turn on all the speakers at once, and it even says engage when 2 or more are selected, so it's probably just concern about pulling too much power. It also could be, because my understanding is when you have multiple speakers hooked up at the same time, you start lowering the impedance. So if you have 8 ohm speakers and you have 2 sets of 8 ohm speakers, it like drops to the equivalent of 4 ohm speakers. So I think the reason why the resistors are there are just to boost the resistance a little bit to keep the current from going absolutely insane. So if we flip this thing around, there's no power input on this thing. Of course, it's simply a, oh God, there's cat fur on it already. It's simply a passive device. On the back, they just have these turn lock things for the speaker connectors, and these are one of the more hated things about Adcom equipment. They make decent equipment for the money, but all of their stuff pretty much uses these, except that big amp. The big amp uses proper connectors, but if you put a wire in, you turn this and it like squishes down on the wire, and these are tinned ends, so it doesn't squish down properly, but it's really clunky, and they're not very good compared to, you know, something like a proper set of binding posts with, you know, you can run in a wire, or you can use banana plugs. You can't use banana plugs on these, so that's one of the main limitations of these connectors, and why a lot of the times people replace them, although the thought of having to replace all of these would be a very expensive proposition. Well, there you can see it. These huge, it says 2.5K each one, and it says R80, so they might be 80 watt resistors. They seem to have something, oh, I think it's a thermal cutout underneath it. That's about it. It's a mildly dusty board, but I took out the screws for the back connectors, so let me see if I can just get the board itself out. You can tell it's obviously an old design by the fact that it's copyright 1986 on it, but the whole layout seems to be pretty well done. They've just got straight paths for all the audio. They've left a little bit of copper or solder resist off to get a little bit of extra current. And they've even put in a whole bunch of holes just to get some airflow around the huge resistors. And it looks like all the power, the thermal cutouts are all just wired in with simple screws and then soldered together. So I think I'm just going to I'm going to take out the resistors. I can probably use those for something. Other than that, this thing really isn't worth keeping. These things are like a dime a dozen on eBay. No one needs them because very few people are using multi-speaker setups like this. So, especially with the bad connectors on the back, that no one wants to have to deal with six speaker sets worth of these things. So, yeah, not very useful. But I'm gonna take out this resistor, and they have the mounting things in here. And now these are, I think, DigiKey sells these for like standard power resistors, and they're like $10 a set. So I might as well keep that. This looks like it's been soldered on, and I can probably just, I can just unscrew it on the other end, even though it's soldered here too. See what we can do. See if my drill can beat the solder. Crank this baby up. Oh yeah. Unfortunately, one of the screws has a bunch of solder in it. So, let me just add a bit to get this going and see if we can heat this up a bit. I imagine it's no match for the Metcal, but we'll see if we can wick this off. So, just get a little bit of fresh solder on that. Get this going. Yeah. That is probably good enough. Perfect. I don't need to actually get the solder off the edges because the drill is easily capable of breaking the solder. Just wanted to double check. It looks like these are in fact 2.5 ohm resistors, not 2.5 K. So I don't know why they have a K on that. Maybe that's standard marking for power resistors in some way, but I've never seen it. We know some of the green chemical paint crap is coming off these things, but I guess I'll hang on to that. I'm sure I can use some big power resistors for something. I did order some gigantic 500 watt 8 ohm resistors to do the calibration and stuff on that big amp if I get it working. So I'm gonna have to build up some big heat sinks for those things, but should be pretty impressive whatever comes out of that. Here's the thermal cutout for one of the channels, and I took it off, and it is a 75 degrees Celsius 13 amp cutout. Supposedly it reactivates once it gets down to 50 degrees Celsius, but yeah, they're just checking the temperatures on the big power resistors, and when they get too hot they just cut the power to the channel. It's pretty straightforward, nothing advanced in this thing. Like I said, it's all completely passive. They do have a few jumper links in here, but other than that, it's a very straightforward board layout. The only components are a few jumper links and the thermal stuff, plus the resistors. So really basic design. I just wanted to take it apart to see what was in it before I got rid of it, since I have no use for it. And like I said before, they're really not worth anything. They have pretty much no resale value. No one will buy them.